Today I fucked up by getting my wife to buy the bird seed. So I've spent the last 20 minutes hyperventilating with laughter, and I promised my wife I wouldn't tell anyone we know because she's a bit humiliated. So this is my way of getting it off my chest. Since lockdown, my wife and I have found a new appreciation of the garden. It isn't big, it isn't pretty, but it's a way to get outside, and, given the cabin fever we've experienced, this is a nice form of escapism. We've always had a bird feeder that we topped up periodically, but with us both working from home, we've enjoyed watching the birds come and go. Got blackbirds, starlings, magpies and more pigeons than you could count. After a while we fed them by hand, and now we can even get a few of them to sit on our hand and eat. It's therapeutic in a weird way, and naturally we've named some of them and so on. I really recommend it, #burbs. Anyway, the wife asks a week ago if she can buy some more bird seed. I said sure, sounds good. I should add my wife isn't from a country that uses the metric system, and she's still getting used to it over here. I was in the room whilst she put the order in, and, well, maybe when she said is it okay if I get a fair bit, it's cheaper that way? And do a selection for wild birds, shall I get some of that too? I didn't do my due diligence. Thought what the hell, it's not like it goes off. We can stick it in the garage. When she told me how much it was, I was shocked, but I assumed she got a few bits with the order. Again, she is still adjusting to the price of things over here, and everything is super expensive to her. So you can probably see where this is going. This morning a delivery arrived. My first clue should have been the size of the van that pulled up outside my house, ready to deliver 4 sacks of 12.5 kilograms of bird seed. The delivery driver, from his safe social distance, lost his shit with laughter as my mind melted as he pulled sack after sack off his van. My wife was in a Zoom meeting, and when I finally got her attention, revealed there's still more to come that's in transit and will arrive tomorrow. Turns out, for some reason, she thought it was 2.5 kilograms to the pound. I don't know if you can picture the amount of bird seed we have, but I'd say, if we take into account how much is due to arrive tomorrow, I'll expect we have about the size of a small sofa. We have enough bird seed to last our entire lives. We can give it as inheritance after we die. From drowning in birdseed, we've both spent a good part of the last hour crying with laughter amid our sacks. Every time I go into the hallway, I lose my shit a bit. After 6 weeks in lockdown, I really think I might be losing my mind. The best bit, we threw some into the garden and the birds don't want to know. Little bastards. Too long didn't read. My wife bought bird seed. She didn't appreciate the nuances of the metric system and bought Pablo Escobar quantities. The birds don't like it. My house is full of it. I can't update. Golly, this is what it feels like when Reddit goes bananas. My phone has been going crazy. Anyway, lots of people asked for photos. Regrettably, I had already started breaking the sacks down, so I can't do all of it. But here is one of the 4 sacks, 12.5 kilograms, we received. Can't wait for more tomorrow. Annoyingly, it's also the most compact of the sacks we got due to smaller seeds. The one with the peanuts was immense. Oh, and for 100% honesty, I'm squeezing it a bit, because it isn't a solid mass to hold. But believe me when I say I am satisfied I got the full amount we paid for. It's a solid mass to carry. Also, hello lockdown hair. Word of warning. When didn't have nearly as much seed as you have, but we didn't use it fast enough. Sometimes there are other things in the bag. In our case, it was moths. Opened the bag and they all came flying out. Hundreds of baby moths. We still have them in the house and garage. Oh god. What a horrible silence of the lambs moment. I may have been traumatized for life. To make it last longer, freeze it in batches. Freeze for 48 hours to kill any insects, adults, larvae, eggs, in the seed. Source: I used to manage a birdseed factory, back in the 1980s, and have birds. It's probably worth investing in a dedicated birdseed freezer. Better keep that shit sealed and stored properly or you're gonna have rodent issues. Yup. To work today I'm going to dig out every Tupperware, plastic box, dust bins and anything that seals. I just hope it's enough. And best of all, one of the sacks has a hole in it. I was going to try for a booze-free weekend, but honestly I may not last the day. grab some edible mushroom spores online, cook up the bird seed, inoculate with spores, dump in giant patch outside, enjoy tons of gourmet mushrooms forever. Or you can do indoor growing, but that takes more time and equipment. Now that isn't a half bad idea. I might look into that. Today I fucked up by trusting my girlfriend to wash her hands. Just happened 15 minutes ago. So this evening was much like any other quarantine evening. I wrapped work at home, my girlfriend and I walked the dog around the park, and then went back to the apartment to relax before dinner. We were missing a few key dinner items, beer, so I ran to the store to pick them up. When I got back home and walked through the door, my girlfriend, who is the best, had dressed up in full sexy teacher regalia, skirt, glasses and all. Fuck yes. Things were just about to get started, my phone rang. I wasn't about to interrupt what was going down, so I naturally ignored the call. But then the text tone, and then my girlfriend's text tone. We checked and it turned out it was a good friend dropping off food gifts but couldn't get into the apartment building. I hated to pause, but it was super sweet of her, so, as the one not in costume, I ran down. My flaw here, and don't judge me guys, is that me and this friend started to catch up a little bit and suddenly 20 minutes had gone by. Damn it. I hurried myself back to the apartment, but when I walked in she was no longer on the couch. She was dicing jalapenos, finishing making guacamole in the kitchen, still in costume. I loved it, don't get me wrong, but also had other intentions. I think the more astute of you might know where this is going. We wound up getting hot and heavy in the kitchen and moved to the bedroom. Started with hand play, she went down on me, then I went down on her. All was right with the world. And then I started to feel an uncomfortable tingle on my nethers, a strengthening tingle, godlike, especially on my huevos. And all of a sudden I'm on fire. I didn't want to kill the mood. I really didn't. I tried to power through for another 30 seconds, but eventually it occurred to me that A, this wasn't going away, and B, when we did get to where we were going, she was going to catch the pain too. I paused and looked up. Babe, did you wash your hands after you cut up those jalapenos? Yeah. Oh, Abe, and suddenly I just started laughing as the heat continued to grow. I got to go. I ran straight to the bathroom and started to wash things off. She ran in after me, apologizing the whole way. As I stood balls to sink, she rummaged through her bathroom cabinet looking for remedies. Oh, aloe, I know. Finally she pulled out an old bottle with aloe in giant letters across it. Sweet baby Jesus, yes. I palmed up and slapped it on. As I waited for relief to wash over, I felt something else entirely. An even stronger burn. We look at the bottle and notice the subtext under aloe. It says with lidocaine. Between the jalapeno and the lidocaine, my balls were somewhere between the 4th of July and the Chinese New Year. After much rinsing, laughter, and a few tears, I am now on the couch with an ice pack on my balls watching Netflix. I feel mostly back to normal, but it has been quite the ride. In another hour or so, I might even be fully functional again. Happy Thursday everyone. Too long didn't read, girlfriend cooked in a kink, brought my balls to the brink, and I wound up washing twice in the bathroom sink. Update, well this has been a fun surprise. Many thanks to all for the comments and involvement. We read many of them in morning before work, laughing our asses off the whole time. A few updates. 1. I am completely back to normal after my brush with the fires of the underworld. 2. I am now much more educated on what lidocaine is thanks to you trusty folks. I checked the back of the bottle and I now highly suspect it was the spearmint leaf oil that doubled my fun. 3. We have decided that in the future we will place a ceremonial bowl of milk next to the bed on Mexican food nights for pre and post dips, just to be safe. Thanks everyone and happy Friday. Jalapenos. Jalapenos are too powerful to come off with just a hand wash. I've made that mistake when taking out my contacts. Gotta use gloves when you chop those suckers or you'll feel the burn one way or another. I wore gloves when I cut up some Trinidad 7 pot peppers for some salsa. When I finished, I put the container in the fridge with the gloves still on. The next morning I pulled it back out to put some fresh salsa on my omelette before putting in contacts. I ended up having to wear glasses that day and showed up to work 20 minutes late with bloodshot eyes. So you end up Netflix and chilled. Sorry for your pain. Your GF may have actually washed, but peppers don't always come off easily. Alton Brown, Good Eats, says it's why he can no longer wear contacts. I eat peppers every day. After cutting, first put only dish soap on your hands, completely cover them, then slowly add water. I'd still wait a while for gentile contact, but you'll be much closer. Edit, after waking up to my autocorrect misspelling, I feel inclined to mention Jewish penises will appreciate you waiting a bit too. Yeah, that lidocaine won't add to the burn, but you will lose some surface sensitivity for about 2 hours. Lidocaine is a topical analgesic. Today I fucked up by giving away to the hang loose sign. Call me obligatory. This happened years back, but it definitely warrants a posting here. My wife and I were sent by the retail chain we worked for to a week-long training out of state, at the company's headquarters. We quickly made friends with some of the other trainees, and we went out with them to explore the city and have some fun after classes one evening. Ultimately, we ended up at a Friday's restaurant at our hotel for some late evening dinner and drinks. There were 5 of us at that Friday's on that fateful evening. We were all laughing, drinking, and generally having a fun time. There was one problem. The service sucked. I mean sucked. The waiter took forever to come to the table to take orders. We had to go and get him at one point. After ordering, the food also took nearly an hour to come out, and the server never said anything about it. When it came, condiments, silverware, sides, you name it were missing. So this was aggravating. The thing is, you need to imagine the waiter. He was a young guy, and talked just like a stereotypical surfer dude. We were in a Rust Belt city, so this was unusual. Everytime we interacted, from asking for napkins, ketchup, another drink, where the food was, whatever, he would say someone like "it's coming man" or "alright my dudes," or "no problem, no worries," and he would flash the hang loose sign, "call me surfer," smile, and didn't seem to have a care in the world. As you can imagine, a waiter nonchalantly responding to service requests/problems with the hang loose sign and surfer platitudes was amusing, but more and more maddening as the night wore on. My wife, a new friend of ours who was an Iraq war vet, and I took to privately mocking the ridiculous interaction when he wasn't around, flashing the hang loose sign while doing our best surfer dude voices. We were very young. I'd never do this now, think 21, 22 years old. And finally, for the fuck up, towards the end of all this, the server never brought a bill after nearly an hour. My new war vet friend finally flagged him down and asked for it, and the waiter again flashed the hang loose sign, and said, "I'll get it my man, call me." My friend says, "Okay my man," while flashing a big smile and the hang loose, "call me," back at him. My friend, my wife, and I thought this was hilarious, but we noticed that the other 2 friends at the table weren't laughing. I mean, it wasn't really mean-spirited or nasty, just goofy and exasperated, so I asked them what was wrong. Guy says, "Dude's got no fingers man." The world stopped spinning. It all came together. In the dim light of the Fridays, the server's deformed hand, which had just a pinky and a thumb and a lump in the middle, had been mistaken by us for a hang loose sign. I mean, he talked like a server and wagged the damn thing at us all night, but we hadn't seen it clearly. My friend was mortified. This cool, tough, recently returned war vet, literally melted away at the table. He ultimately silently got up and just left us there. I didn't know WTF to do, so I apologized to the waiter and told him what we had thought he was doing, and it wasn't intended to mock his disability, but I don't know what he thought. Too long didn't read. Had very bad service at Fridays by a surfer-sounding waiter who seemingly kept flashing us the hang loose sign all night, "Call me." We were making fun of it when he wasn't around, but eventually a friend of mine, exasperated with his surfer speak, service, and hang loose sign, gave the sign back to him and asked for the bill. Others at the table looked mortified. I asked them why, and the guy said, "Dude's got no fingers man." This turned out to be the actual case. He in fact had a pinky and a thumb, and nothing else, which for some reason he shook vertically to gesture while speaking. Fuck. Edit, RIP my inbox, incoming envelope. You guys just love a good scorched earth. Today I fucked up, don't you? Well, everything's burning here, ha. And thanks for giving me my first ever reward on Reddit, silver medal, after at least decade on here, for something just horrible. Figures, smiley face. Edit 2, first, gold medal, and a coconut. I'm glad my pain is bringing Reddit such pleasure, haha. Edit 3, Platinum? Today I have climbed my Everest. I'll probably become a frozen landmark, but that's okay. Thanks Reddit. Edit 4, upon popular demand. Too long didn't read, equals waiter at us and sucked. We eventually write back at him. Someone doesn't laugh. Asked why not? Because dude's got no fingers. Fuck me. If it's any consolation, a friendly dude with missing fingers is supposedly the origin of the Hawaiian shakehand sign. Still. So the other two friend never said anything during the entire time you guys were mocking him at the table? Only till you guys confronted him at the end did they spoke up. They didn't really join in, we didn't know each other very well. It didn't become visibly awkward between us until the one guy gave the server the sign back. Afterwards they told us they thought we knew and were making fun of his hand the whole time. Shame. Off. I truly did not know where that was going and I felt the air pressure in my lungs shift when I read the big reveal. What a champ dude was taking on a server job with that challenge though. Impressed. Literally had this happen when my husband and I went to Red Robin. He kept complaining about how our waitress was so slow until he realized she was shaking. He asked her if she needed something to eat because I have diabetes and he knows the signs of low blood sugar. Turns out she had Parkinson's and had to walk very slowly so she wouldn't drop anything. Turns out he lost them in a shark attack while surfing. Plot twist, he had the fingers removed because he liked doing the hang loose sign.